let me record this. Thursday. Today is Wednesday, and tomorrow's Thursday. While you're doing your lab, you have to do the lab on your own because I'll be busy with this young lady grading notebooks. We'll be sitting over, you're going to pile your binders. Binders will be graded tomorrow. I have done you a favor, and I have scanned the notes, one young lady's notes. I'm not sure if it's good or bad. I didn't have time to look at it because I had to make phone calls and deal with students not doing what they're supposed to be doing, so I didn't have time to actually do my job of helping all those students that did the right thing. That's the problem with students that are off task. I got to spend time getting them on task instead of actually helping those that are already on task. So I did, however, scan a set of notes that I think are probably a good set of notes. I haven't looked at them. At the very least, they all have all the assignments have dates. The assignments are in there. So I scanned them. I'll be putting them in Jupyter for you to look at and give you something to compare. If you all have a good set of notes, anyone have a good set of notes you would let me scan and email people, thank you. Could we do that? Can you leave your binder here and I'll do it third period. You can come back and get it then. So there'll be 2 sets of notes I'll scan and send to you so you have something to compare to. Is that fair? That should help you. So I'll be sending you that in Jupyter. Is everybody here that's here, and I'll be sending out a survey, everybody here on Schoology? Who is not on Schoology? Raise your hand. What did they tell you about being on Schoology?
They said it might take some time because my old school still got me in English, which they would have to take me out and I'll have to use it.
Well, unfortunately I have to start using Schoology because you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna have to do a workaround. Everything I post on Schoology, I'm gonna post on the website, on the class website. You can access that, correct?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Okay. You need to see me. What class website? Does anybody else see why I'm so frustrated right now?
Because you use Schoology, but not everybody's on.
Exactly, because we've been doing it for the last week. What have you been doing for the last week? Have you not been accessing the videos on the class website?
Oh yeah, I don't show
Oh, okay. So the class website, I'll be posting everything I post on Schoology, I'll post there. Okay? Tomorrow, on top of everything else, you're going to sign up for Pre-AP Classroom. It's a website that allows you to take quizzes and tests, and watch short little professionally made videos on whatever it is that they on the curriculum. I'm also going to assign you workbooks. You're going to get workbooks where you're going to have to do, and you're going to have to rip the pages out and put them in your binder by date. So you'll keep the workbook in your pocket of your binder, and then as we do that assignment, you're going to rip it out and put it in the binder by date. Does that make sense? So I will be sending you the copy, at least 2 sets of notes for you to compare to. You do not have to try to copy the notes, but I'm going to grade them based on the assignments, on what I've already taught you that you need to do. And remember, binders are 25% of your grade in this class. They will go into Schoology tomorrow. I'm putting the grades in tomorrow. There's a number of assignments I expect to see them 100% correct in there. When I scan through them, they better be correct. There's no reason why there's any assignment that hasn't been graded. I graded all the assignments that I needed to grade. Now the ones that are in there, I already gave you all the right answers. So I expect them to 100% done. Correct? All right. So I don't want any miscommunication. Tomorrow's lab, you're going to set up situations. You're going to follow the directions, and as we had done the last time we tried to do the lab. You're going to have a liquid a certain amount of water in one. Well, the situation depends. How much water depends on which experiment you're doing. But in one experiment, you're going to start, I believe, with no water in the products. And you're going to start with a certain amount of water in the reactants. And then you're going to transfer a specific amount. You're going to decide what that amount is, but you're going to use a pipette. You're going to pull out a milliliter, 1 milliliter. You can. I'm putting this as an example. You're going to follow the directions in your lab, but you're going to pull 1 milliliter. If it doesn't tell you how much, you can use a milliliter, and you're going to transfer a milliliter over in both directions. So there's going to be one pipette and one vessel that's going to be named reactants, another that's going to be named products. As you transfer them over, you're going to measure, these cylinders have little graduations. You're going to measure how much you have. Let's say you have 15 milliliters here to start with. Of course, you have 0 milliliters here to begin with. If you have 0 and 15, you'd expect that as the reaction goes on, you have more water obviously filling up here. And at the beginning, there's nothing going from products to reactants, correct? Yes. All right. This is trying to get the idea into your mind that what we have is dynamic, is what we call the chemical reactions, I should say. Chemical reactions can go both ways. That's a really important idea. And the second important idea is that even at some point, if you're moving the same amount back and forth, at some point in this reaction, in this experiment, no matter how much you go, the total amount of volume that's in this tube will not change. So when you draw your chart, and you have the charts in your already printed for you, when you draw your charts, you have reactants and you have products, and you're starting with 0 here. You might start with 15 here. And then you have 14 because you're moving, and you have on this side you're gonna have 1. And what's gonna happen in the third step? If I'm transferring 1 milliliter over in this direction and 1 milliliter in the opposite direction all the time, right? Start with 15 and 0. I'm going to go down to 14 and 1, and then what happens? You would think. But remember, you're moving 1 milliliter in both directions. Yeah. 13 and 1, or 14 and 1. It's going to stay 14 and 1. It should stay at some point, no matter how long you do, how many of these transitions you make, it's going to stay the same. Why? Because even though you are exchanging liquid, you're exchanging the same amount of liquid in both directions, so there's no change, no net change. Does that make sense? You are changing the liquid. 1 milliliter is going to one side, 1 milliliter is going to the other, but there's no net change. So because this stays the same, even though you're moving liquid, this is staying the same. We call that dynamic and then equilibrium. Very good. So it's equilibrium because it's staying the same. It's dynamic because you are changing the liquid. Liquid is moving in both directions. Okay. So that's dynamic equal. Now you're going to change the experiment. You're going to have, they ask you to do a bunch of different little changes. You guys are going to figure that out as you move through the lab on your own while I'm grading your binders tomorrow. You have to follow direction. You have to actually read. You have to discuss and talk to each other. If there's a confused point where all of you disagree, then you can come and talk to me. But other than that, you guys can figure this out. It's just water and some plastic syringes, and you can move the water in both directions at the same time. You're going to collect your data. That's what you're doing tomorrow. There are different situations, and we'll talk about Le Chatelier's principle of stressing out the system, moves it in one direction or the other. That's all he said. We'll talk about that after you've collected your data. Is that clear? All right. So that's what we're doing tomorrow. Like the one I just got. So what you're going to have tomorrow when I grade your notebooks, what I'm going to expect to see is a sheet of paper for today. I'm going to expect to see the notes that we just wrote. Ooh. I'm going to expect to see September 6th. Some people are talking right now, and they're going to say they didn't know. I'm going to say too bad. You're going to have the notes that I just gave you. Yeah. I'm going to expect to see that in those notes, tomorrow's lab group. Now, there's the first 3 periods, it's not tomorrow's, but it'll be for you, it'll be Friday. Now, the people at home that they're doing this for homework, they're not going to have their lab groups, but they should have an idea of who they want to work with. Tomorrow's lab group, you're going to have your 4 people. If you have 5 people, that's fine, but that's at the absolute max. There's 2 of them. Shh. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not connected. Thank you. I don't know why it's not. It is connected. It's just the TV timed out. No, it timed out. Well, you're going to have 4 people listed anyways. The 5th person's your alternate. If you're going to use the 5th person, that person's going to be recording. If you have 4 people, 2 of them are going to be reactants. And 2 of them are going to be products. And your 5th person or alternate is going to be your recorder. If you only have 4 people, which is all you need, then those 4 people, 2 of them will be reactants, 2 of them will be products, and everybody records. Everybody needs to write down the data. Everybody needs to write down the data. Is there someone in here playing with this TV remote? Is there someone have an alternate frequency or something? Because this is ridiculous.
This is how you spell your name.
All right. So that's what I expect. I expect that, and in the summary of what I would write here in the main idea here to take home is that we have homework, and my homework is to read the lab and make sure that I know what I'm doing. With the caveat that you have to remember when you're reading the lab, you have to remember as a summary, did it do it again? Somebody's playing games, and I'm going to find out who's playing with a remote control that keeps turning this off. If I find out who you are, I swear to peace, you're going to be suspended for 5 days. That's not even a joke. This is an absolute malicious interaction of I'm recording this. I'm promising you. I'm promising you're out of here for 5 days. Stop playing with whatever remote control app you have that's turning this thing off. Huh? Yeah, phones can't send the signal out with apps. You can do it. It's possible. Someone's playing around. No, it's not really dark. It's pretty daylight. Stop playing with the daggone remote control. All right, so the summary is clear. The summary is clear. And in this summary, all right, you're on your own. I'm not playing with this. It's not my stuff. Don't be saying it's not my stuff. My stuff's all working. Look, it's out. My stuff's on.
Well, that's not working.
I believe in you.
Unplug it and plug it back in. We just can't do work. You can do it Friday.
You just love messing with me, man. All right, so you're gonna have to listen to it verbally. You're gonna have to listen to it verbally. The summary. Don't forget that you may have to adjust volumes. As necessary. The equipment will not match directly with what you have written in the lab. We've had to change it a couple times since I first gave it to you. Yeah, I'll post the videos today. Yeah. All right, I think it's almost time to leave. If not,